Hello, my name is Rich Howard, owner of Architectural Builders Supply. This video is to bring you a closer look at the Hager. This is their part number 2-647-0013 aluminum cylinder collar aluminum. I'll go with two things. I'll say it's non-magnetic, it's heavy, it weighs 0.2 pound. It's non-ferrous, it's probably cast aluminum, would be my guess, although it's quite heavy for that. It's not stainless. Perhaps it's cast zinc. 0.2 pound is awfully heavy for a little piece, for a block of aluminum like this. Some sort of non-ferrous based material. My opinion is it's likely zinc. It seems to be too heavy for aluminum. It will include a wave washer. We'll talk why you use that in a moment. First, the dimensional properties. Let's go over that now, so that will help you determine if this is correct for your application. First of all, the most important dimensions, the overall thickness, 0.848. 0.848 is the thickness of the ring. The dimension of the shoulder here, so you've got 0.848. And then we have 0.2 right on the nose. From here down to the shoulder, 0.2. So 0.648 is going to be the balance of all of this. 0.648, so basically 5/8 of an inch. It's going to have this wave washer. That wave washer serves a absolute purpose. We'll talk about in a moment. The ID of the hole, .177. The outside diameter at the base, 1.843. The ID at the top of the collar, roughly, 1.563. Okay, so that's the dimensional properties. This is what it looks like. It's in a sprayed aluminum finish. Okay, now what is it used for? Let's talk about that. If you are enjoying this video, please click thumbs up or like, and also please consider subscribing to our channel. Let's move on to the rest of the video. Now, what this item is used for is, well, it's a cylinder collar. It's a tapered cylinder collar is what it is. This is going to be used when you're installing generally a mortise cylinder onto something, a door, a piece of trim, exit device trim, an alarm bypass, anything that will take a mortise cylinder or a rim cylinder it could be used in as well. You might use a collar like this if you are installing a rim cylinder down onto an extremely thin piece of material. I've had people install rim cylinders onto stuff that was 3/4 thick, you know, things of that nature. But the most common application for this cylinder, this trim ring cylinder collar, is when you have aluminum storefront and you have an 1.75 thick door. You have aluminum storefront hardware, a hook bolt, you know, an Adams Wright 4510, a 4900 latch, and you have interchangeable core, small format interchangeable core, large format interchangeable core, full size interchangeable core, mortise cylinders, because and they're taking removable cores. Why would you need such a long collar? Well, those cylinders are at a minimum of 1 3/8 and can get longer really fast, 1 3/8, 1.5. So if the effective height of this was about 5/8, a little bit heavier on that, let's say 11/16, if you have an 1 3/4 thick door and you go to the center of that thickness, okay, you'll have 7/8. Let's take a 16th off, and let's say now we're at 13/16. You've got an 1.5 cylinder collar. Yeah, you're gonna need something about 11/16. That's where this comes in. You'll see it in sliding doors all the time, on sliding automatic doors on grocery stores. You'll walk up, you know, I notice it, that cylinder collar is so thick. Sure, it's a small format interchangeable core mortise cylinder housing is there. And I suppose I give that outline because that's where I always see this, and that's why you're going to have this sort of magic size, not a magic size, the application is typical. You know, you get into door thicknesses, then where in relationship to the thickness of the door is the lock installed? So an example would be you have a mortise lock, and it is a classroom function. It's an 1 3/4 thick door. except that you have a 1-inch applied panel on the exterior side. So while you're not going to really use a cylinder collar like this in that application, you need to compensate your parts to account for the installation and how the hardware is affected by that installation. And conversely, when you're dealt a set of cards and you're being told make all this work, yeah, the variable very often is going to be that thickness of the cylinder collar. Okay. Now, why is this cylinder collar awesome? Well, it's awesome because it's effective. See what I'm doing there? I'm pinching the head of that and I'm trying to grab onto it. A tapered collar like this resists a pipe wrench attack because you can't get the tool on there real well. Okay, and the fact that this is likely zinc, that's going to give way more than getting a pipe wrench on there, in my opinion. I think the base material is going to serve the purpose of what you're trying to resist, that sort of pipe wrench attack. So getting something on there, on the head of the cylinder and spinning it, this will help thwart that. It's meant that the head of the cylinder to be sit flush with this, and the roll of the wave washer, I'm not sure if you can hear that, but they're drilling outside the building. The roll of the wave washer is to allow you to tighten that cylinder, that mortise cylinder in, till it's flush, but keep the collar tight on the face of the door so it doesn't rattle. Okay, you don't want any unintentional movement on this cylinder collar to get that to move, and that's why it's there. It's meant to be able to be turned or spin. That's the design. You want it to rotate if someone's trying to attack. The ID, actually, that's another dimension that people do sometimes ask. People do ask this because they feel they want to be sure that their cylinder is going to fit. 1.422, the ID, 1.422. This is going to work for every mortise cylinder, every rim cylinder that are standard 1 in 5/32 diameter, 32 threads per inch. You know, if you have a peanut cylinder or a jumbo cylinder or a mogul cylinder, no, it's not going to work. But for our standard rim and mortise cylinders, this is going to be fine. This is going to be available in some other colors. Let's switch now to the screen view. Let's take a closer look at the supporting information. Here is the item that we are looking at. Let's take a look at the photographs we have uploaded down below. Here's our packaging. 4700 series locks, exits, I believe. We'll take a look at that. 5, 6, and 7 pin. Top view. Just giving you, intending to give you an idea of what that shoulder looks like. Bottom side, the wave washer itself. Now, here's the item, our extended description information for use with 4700 series exit device trim when you're dealing with longer cylinders. Okay. This is in the aluminum finish. So let's do this. Let's copy our part number. Let's open up the... What's surprising to me is we don't have any product data that's linked to down here. Let's click on the link here to the manufacturer's page, and we'll wait for that to load. And once it does, we're going to be able to review not only all of the Hager items that we sell by means of this horizontal navigation here, but also a link to the manufacturer's website, as well as a link to the full product catalog that's there. Okay. And when we click on that full product catalog, it's going to load for us, and here it comes. And once that comes up, we'll be able to do a find function on our keyboard for 2-647-0013. That's not coming up, unfortunately. There are many items that are not listed directly in the Hager catalog. When you're working with manufacturers, especially larger ones, you're going to need to use a combination of the book, the catalog, and the price list to be able to find all of the components that are necessary. I am in the 4700 series section, and you can see where those cylinder collars work on these exterior trims. But I doubt they'll list them separately here. Yeah, they're not listed in the 4700. So let's take a look at the price book. Let's see what that has. So when that document comes up, let's do a find function or Control F on our keyboard, and then we'll be able to find it. And indeed, it's going to show us all of the different colors available. So in typical Hager fashion, and other people do it too, The 0013 in the part number literally means aluminum. Okay, so as you change that 13, those two columns, you're going to go from aluminum to polished brass to dark bronze to satin nickel, satin brass, satin bronze, oil rub bronze, polished chrome, satin chrome. And that these collars are to be used with the 4700 series for 1 1/8 inch, 3/8 long cylinders, 7/8 projection, and then you see you have some shorter ones, 7/16 projection when your cylinder is at 1 1/8 inch. Okay, 11/16 projection would be the other size that they have listed here. Pretty handy. Okay, let's wrap up this video on camera. It's not uncommon that you might be looking at this because that type of cylinder collar, these trim rings, they're available from lots of different people, and that's because they are very common products. You know, sometimes cylinder collars, trim rings, blocking rings, compression rings, wave washers, they're afterthoughts. You got this really long cylinder, and what am I supposed to do with all of this? It's way longer than I need it to be, but it's the minimum length that's available, and so you're going to need a trim collar, cylinder collar, etc. at some point. The name Hager is synonymous with everything door hardware related, with the exception of the door and frame itself. Hinges, door closers, lock sets, exit devices, electrified hardware, trim and auxiliary hardware, Roton continuous geared aluminum hinges, trim and weather stripping, sliding door hardware accessories. That company is at least 160 years old, multiple generations of Hager running the company, tremendous client loyalty to the Hager brand. You know, they're certainly doing something right. You know, what other companies are 160 years old, plus maybe 170? If you have any questions on the Hager 2-647-0013 aluminum 7/8 projection cylinder collar, tapered collar, or any other Hager product, please feel free to reach out to us. And thank you. Again, thank you for watching, and if you've enjoyed this video, please click thumbs up, please subscribe, and maybe even send the video to someone that you know. Thank you.